Hey there, y'all. So, I don't know why it's so scary for me to go live. Like, I'm a fucking singer, man. I love being live, but this is a little bit more intimidating, but whatever. So, I'm just gonna ramble and whatever, because that's what I do. So, I am, if you, I don't know if you follow Minnow Pond Tarot, but Chris Reck is doing like a marketing helping type of group, and I rambled to him and he said, why don't you stream? And then I've spent the day, overcoming anxiety about streaming. First of all, just going live, and second of all, do I do it on TikTok? Do I do it on Facebook? Do I do it on YouTube? And so I decided TikTok because I've got, pretty much the most followers or subscribers on here, except for my main Facebook page. And I guess with that, and I was talking with like the shop manager here at Instant Karma, and I was like, I want to stream live to TikTok, but are they going to make TikTok go away? And like, who knows what fucking's going to happen anymore, but whatever. But if they do make TikTok go away, you can follow me on YouTube, airyfairytarot, and then I have a show that Murph and I do called Tune Your String, and I'm supposed to sing. No, I usually try to sing, and hopefully the more I get to know people in Asheville, I'll have musical guests. I just am shy, but whatever. And what else was I going to say? Oh, you can follow me on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, but here we are on TikTok. And I wanted to come on and just... One thing I wanted to talk about is I was doing a palm reading yesterday, and it's so silly the way this message came out, but it's like, I don't know why I feel like I have to share it so much, but, and here's what it is. So I was doing a palm reading for this really beautiful woman, and it doesn't matter that she was beautiful. We're all beautiful, whatever, but it's just funny that the metaphor was about pigs. And I'm like... because I want to be sensitive. I'm not comparing you to a pig. But the message was this. So, and I'll describe what was on her palm. So right between her lifeline and her headline, and then also between that area of her hand, between her headline and her heart line, if you know anything about palm reading, there were lots of squares all built up on each other. And I know that squares can signify protection, but it's like, really, it's more like a fucking cage, y'all. It's fucked up. No, it's not fucked up. We all go through feeling caged and whatever, and we are in a place in history or whatever. I don't even like that word anymore. There's so many words I just want to like, fuck that. We are at a cycle in our evolution as a collective, that's better, where we are not only witnessing a great shift of consciousness on the planet, but we are facilitating this shift of consciousness on the planet. And so when I see all those squares together, it indicates that, there's just a lot of conceptual cages that we have around us, or people in our lives that have established dominance over our lives, whether it's over our thinking or over our actual physical choices or whatever it is. And and one of the great keys to unlocking these cages is saying fuck you. Fuck you. That doesn't even align to what I believe to be true. Why should we base our fucking concepts on the fears and the dominance that others put on us? So anyway, so as I was looking at these boxes, the metaphor came up that pigs are such intelligent beings, and they're so intelligent, but in the food industry, they, experience such cruel conditions, and, often confined to these tiny little, enclosures, and they go insane because they're too intelligent for that treatment, and they can't they need more stimulation, they need more freedom. And so that was the metaphor, is that when we find ourselves in family situations or work situations or just whatever cultural societal situations that are too confining for us, and we are too intelligent to be confined by these conceptual prisons, and that it's all concept. All reality is human fabrication, unless you go to nature, and then that's definitely beyond human. But the minute you step foot on the pavement, you're in a human fabricated reality. And there's a fabricated fucking reality, I'll say. And there's nothing wrong with that, except that there's so many scripted behaviors that go along with these structural fabrications, the way you have to behave, at the bank, or the way you have to behave in school, and behave. We go fucking crazy. And so I think a lot of why this shift is happening is that because consciousness coming in waves, and you could see it as generational, each generation has its own waves of consciousness. They're bringing in the solutions for the challenges that have been created by the generations that preceded them. And if we could reorient our consciousness to really appreciate these new waves of consciousness that come in, bringing in the solutions. If we look to the children for the answers, we would have so many solutions right there. And probably there's a lot of solutions already that are being presented, but those who, for whatever reason, get to make all the choices, don't want those solutions. And so we are facilitating the shift of consciousness on the planet. But just keeping that in mind, though, basically it's about, if you feel like you're going fucking crazy, it's because you're too intelligent to be confined by these conceptual prisons that have been placed around us. And we are here to shatter that fucking shit. We're here to shatter the paradigm. Bless and release that bullshit. And so and I'll often tell people, because I'll look at their palm readings especially, sometimes they'll have so much going on. I'll look at it and I'll say, well, you're not crazy. I'm just kidding. Because of course they're crazy. We're all fucking crazy. We're too intelligent to be penned in by these conceptual prisons. And so really allow yourself to be free. And it wants to be repeated. Some of the keys to letting yourself out of these cages are, is the words, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I won't do what you told me. I think that's the wisdom of Generation X. Fuck you, I won't do what you told me. And then we move along. But then often what I'll say to people after it's, of course you're crazy, is that crazy is better than conformity. And, so let's talk about conformity a little bit. As children, we get told, tell the truth, always tell the truth. And then we tell the truth, and then we get punished for telling the truth. And so what gets reinforced is a couple of things. One, nobody wants to hear the truth. Nobody wants to face the truth. Tell people what they want to hear. Or if we speak our truth, we really get punished. And a lot of times either, those who we speak our truth to, they don't like it because they can't dominate us with that truth, with whatever we say, or they're just not consciously evolved enough to grasp what we're truly saying, and so then they feel stupid, and so they want to dominate us with their toxic, whatever, and then or whatever it is, or again, it's that domination kind of thing. And so what I've kind of found is a lot of times if your truth it feels threatening to somebody else, either because they're not consciously evolved to receive it, or it triggers their cognitive dissonance where they want to believe what they want to believe, and your truth runs contrary to what they want to believe. And so often they will gaslight you on what you said. And so you'll speak your truth, and then they'll say back to you a distortion of what you just said. And then you, because you're speaking from integrity, probably usually think they misunderstand what you were meaning. And so you reiterate what you actually said, and then they've already decided that you said this, or that that's what they're going to make you think that you just said. And then, so then it gets into this great confusion. And often we end up explaining what we meant by what we didn't say because we're so drained and confused. And so we really need to recognize when that happens, really recognize that for some reason people are intentional with that kind of behavior. They just want to dominate our thinking. They don't care about truth. They're not interested in new concepts. They're not interested in solutions. And, you know, it doesn't have to become oppositional. We can just recognize what they're doing and recognize that we're not safe in sharing our truth with them. And that really sucks when we're kids and like it's our parents doing that to us, or, you know, other adults that like we don't really have a choice. And so by the time we are adults, we've already been, you know, mind fucked into this kind of behavior. So now, you know, now this is where we find ourselves, is recognizing that people do this and learning that it's safe to be sovereign and authentic and to speak our truth and to really dig our heels in and allow the freedom of our truth to flow through our being. And I'm getting like a really strong, like, physical ripple through my being from like my heels all the way up my spine, it like about really digging your heels in. And it's not so much about being stubborn, because you're not stubborn if you're presented with information that stands truly shows, you know, that whatever you said was like not really in alignment with truth or whatever, then we can be willing to, you know, we can be flexible in our thinking. We always being open to learn and expand our perspective. Fuck yes. But it's more about digging your heels in and being committed to yourself and being committed to your ideals, and recognizing when sometimes people are oppositional just because they want to dominate the thinking, they want to dominate the concepts or whatever the fuck it is. And again, you don't have to, you know, just say fuck you. You know, I've got 4 little affirmations I like to share with people. The first one is fuck you. The second one is I'm not in the habit of explaining myself. And, you know, because again, sometimes you'll explain and people will gaslight you about what you said anyway. Or I've had it where people have demanded that I give an explanation, and then I do give the explanation, and then what I get back is, that's just an excuse. And, you know, and I always want to go back and forth, play devil's advocate with my own self. Like, we really have to walk the line, and that's where presence really comes in. We can't be so identified with our beliefs that we're closed off from new information. So always being open to learning new, always being open to having an expanded perspective, and at the same time knowing yourself well enough that sometimes, you know, people will try to confuse you with misinformation. And again, it's realigning ourselves, reorienting ourselves. Part of this new consciousness is such a deeply feeling experience. It's being more in our bodies than in our heads. And there's another lady that I really like named Amanda Flaker, and one of the things that she says is, the mind is a wonderful servant but a terrible master. And boy, is that fucking true. Like, and it feels like nature really like. Sorry, somebody sent me a message. I'm like, try not to lose my train of thought. Nature is the great recalibrator. So nature is a really good place to go and spend the more hours you can spend there, and to really become aware of how much this brain is just running all the time, and how challenging it can be to really be fully present with life, because this mind is always like trying to figure things out. What's going to happen? How am I going to do this? And what about, 20 years ago, and la 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 la, and what am I going to eat for dinner, and da 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 da. And it's like, So breath work helps, going to nature really helps. Again, nature is the great recalibrator. And so now there's a great importance for us to really be in our bodies, to tune into our bodies and to really connect with the present moment over and over and over again. And I know so many people say that, and so I'm just one more, but it's just really coming through in a really big way lately about how important it is to be fully present, to feel yourself in your being, to feel yourself in your body, and also then by extension to really be present with everything that's in front of you and around you, and making connection with all that's around you. And that's why nature is super helpful with that too, because everything is living, everything is breathing. The trees are breathing, the flowers are breathing, and there's life in water, there's life in fire, there's life in all of the elementals. And so it's so easy to connect with the energy around you in nature, but then also just anywhere. It's all energy, even if it's manifested from human fabricated consciousness. It still all is same earth stuff. And so even if it's a chair, but that's why it helps to keep stones on us, crystals, and lighting candles and that sort of thing. Just really extending your energy out into divine connection with everything that's around you. And it feels like imbuing it with love, imbuing it with acknowledgement of your oneness with all that is, imbuing it with appreciation, like loving where you are every chance that you get, just loving where you are. And our brains have, they kind of challenge us with being in that loving where we are, because there's always so many problems it wants to figure out. But we do the best we can whenever we can. I just noticed everything I picked up is blue. So a lot of need to speak our truth right now. A lot of need to get connected to our vision. I'm going to light another candle, and I don't know if anyone's messaged me. I don't have my glasses on. I can't see with or without my glasses. And so it's just easier for me to be on camera without glasses. But I'm lighting a candle. So then I've got these two cards that kept coming out, and I thought they wanted to be part of my daily down and dirty reading, but then I decided to use some different cards. And so it's so beautiful, I guess. It's synchronicitous, I guess, that message about how we can go crazy when we're too confined by, conceptual I feel like conceptual mind traps has been said before, but that's what wants to be said. Conceptual cages. And so then we've got this Father card, which in this deck, it's the number 5. I feel like that's significant for some reason. And then we've got the 7 of Air card, which if there were a word for this card, I would say it's fanatic. And I love the F word. So it's fucking fanatic is what it feels like. You see, he's clinging to this book. And I don't know, there's just something so stark about the black and white. And I don't know, there's just something very fanatical about it. Sometimes being so blinded by what is your truth. But there's something about, I don't know, truth being very relative. Isn't it? Because in this fanatic kind of card, it's it just represents dogmatic religion, dare I say patriarchal religion, patriarchal politics even, just very dogmatic, rulesy kind of truth, which again, I like going into truth being more resonant, because I guess it's where truth dwells here, compared to where truth dwells here. And so it's you can witness beauty, and there's something about truth that resonates with you. And but at the same time, there's conceptual truth. So taking this book, for example, there's truths written in some people's fanatical books that they all kinds of things. We know all kinds of things that people adhere to the truth, and it's just very again, it's just really those conceptual cages, those conceptual prisons that keep us locked into fear and obedience. And so I just feel like, some of these have become so apparent and so obvious that they're laughable. And then it's kind of sadable that there are people that are still so staunchly, believing other truths that are just meant to control them. Let's all take a deep breath. but then we have other like dogmas within ourselves that we take for granted as truth for ourselves. Like one that I am really working on. Again, I'm Generation X. My mom is so young she could have almost been X. I guess not. She's a boomer, but whatever. So a lot of what was imbued in those generations as truth is the root of body dysmorphia and how we're just never enough. We're only acceptable if we look a certain way. And, most of us don't look like that, and so that can be a fanatical truth, constantly worrying about our appearance, constantly worrying about our weight, constantly worrying. And we don't recognize what fanatical thinking that is. And it has nothing to do with actual truth. It has nothing to do with our actual worthiness. So then we have this Father card, and I just feel like, putting these two together, I love that there's just so much color here. And this beautiful being is sitting in the woods. And I love that he's sitting with his lioness. I fucking love this deck so much because there's such an element of the strength card imbued into here. And then 5, I think, typically is the Hierophant, which is ironic because this is like a very fanatical version of the Hierophant. Like in the Rider-Waite Tarot, the Hierophant is the Pope. So it's a lot more like this than this. So, man, the fucking tarot is brilliant. Spirit guides are whatever. It's all the beautiful divine intelligence around us is just fucking beautiful. And so I love that this is the new divine template. And, and while I want us to, I want to be one of those messengers that remind us that gender is a spectrum. It's all a spectrum, and that we are complete systems unto ourselves. And if you think in terms of a battery, a battery must be a complete system unto itself. It has both the polarities of masculine and feminine, positive, negative. And one activates the current, the other receives the current. And isn't it interesting that in the natural flow of things, it's the feminine that is the receiver. And if you think about it, like it's sex, it's the feminine that's the receiver. In pregnancy, it's the egg that receives the sperm. And so naturally it's the feminine that receives. But in this old fanatical paradigm, cage of conceptual bullshit, I'll say it, is the feminine has been really put into the role of always giving. And we're supposed to feel guilty if we're receiving. We're giving and we're proving ourselves and we're giving. And I guess that it's not just the feminine that is mind fucked by all of that, but especially the feminine. We have to, and isn't that silly? Like in the old paradigm, the indoctrination is, the belief is, there's the givers and then there's the takers. And we're lazy if we don't aspire to be takers. But then we also have to feel guilty if we aspire to be takers, because we have to prove our worthiness by being givers. And so we give and we give and we prove ourselves, and we give and we prove and we give and we prove and we give and we prove. And I guess the belief is that eventually we'll give enough that one of the takers will decide we're now worthy enough to be a taker. And it's fucking ridiculous when it's said that way, but that's what the indoctrinated belief is. fuck that. We are complete systems unto ourselves. Science has shown that we each have our own toroidal field, and it's been demonstrated in like apples and oranges, like all organic living things have a torus, and it's this energy field. I believe that would be our aura, but the way the energy moves, we are receivers and we are also givers. We are activators. I like the word activate. We are meant to be receivers. So there's a lot of emphasis right now on becoming the receiver, knowing your worthiness, allowing the universe to give to you, receiving. You already know that you're a giver. But then in that, it's knowing when to act. So activating on your own divine timing, activating on, acting on your own divine impulses, your creative urges and inspirations. And again, he is sitting in nature being recalibrated. He knows his divine connection to the planet, to the life of the earth, the trees. He knows where his truth lies and where he can establish that, recalibrate himself to his own divine, authentic, vibrational frequency. And so I really like that message, that it's like a new, so the reason I went through that whole full spectrum thing is then coming back to, this is the new template for the divine masculine. But that is both those who embody the masculine and those of all of us who know that we are complete systems unto ourselves. And our own, I just feel like there's such a patience and such a love and such a connection, such a peace, carried with this individual. And I love that he's got antlers. One that honors the nature god Cernunnos, and I love Cernunnos, but also the antlers act as antennas to receive divine guidance from all it's all frequency and vibration. And so receiving divine guidance from the universe, yes, but you are the universe. So it's like, whether we're connected to the planetary plane, whether you're tuned into the elementals or tuned into the stars or tuned into other, guiding spirits, whatever it is for you. But really listening and again, seeing yourself as an instrument of frequency and vibration. We are musical instruments. And I like that, Tesla talked about think in terms of frequency and vibration. It's all this great song of creation in favor of the word God or even goddess. Why don't we just call it the great song of creation? And it flows. And, I used to give singing lessons, and ideally I would take people to a waterfall for their first lesson to demonstrate that music flows the way water flows. And, sometimes it's a gentle stream, like, ooh, ooh. I just want to sing. It's been a singing day. Or, it can be really intense and hard. I'll back up like a waterfall and like, hey, 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 hey. All water is the blues to me, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. But it's that sort of thing. It's all flow. It's frequency and vibration. And so all these different things. So it's like attuning into the frequencies, the vibrational frequencies, and it's like whatever kind of truth you're choosing to align to attune to. And I'm going to end soon, but I kind of just want to end it with, it's important to learn to use your voice. We are all instruments of music. We are all instruments of frequency and vibration. When I was giving singing lessons, I also learned that a crow is considered a songbird. I love crows. I love the goddess Morrigan. But crows are considered a songbird because of the structure of their voice. And so by that logic, every human being is a songbird because of the structure of our voice. And yeah, some people sing more like a robin, some people sing more like a crow, but it doesn't fucking matter. Just find your voice and sing. Allow yourself to sing. And I love to point out, crows sing louder and prouder than any other bird out there. So just find your voice and sing. And if others don't appreciate it, that's their fucking problem. But the point of all of that is when you sing, and I found found this out from one of my best friends who had a stroke and he lost the ability to speak. And so he tricked his mind into thinking he was speaking by singing. So he taught himself to speak again through that. And so because you use a different part of your brain when you sing than when you speak. And so it's activating more parts of your brain when you sing, and also connecting into that divine guidance that you're receiving. It helps you be a channel when you sing. And, you can sing affirmations. You can just allow music to flow through you, however you want to use your voice. And, you don't have to go get up on stage unless you want to, but you can go sing to the trees. You can sing to your house. You can sing to the birds. The crows, I sing to the crows all the time. Whatever. But just sing and allow yourself to flow. And then I guess the last thing I want to say on that note, is when I do a reading for somebody, or when I start, a video or whatever, before I do all that, I always sing, and I open up the vortex. I open up the channel. And I do that to set a vibrational frequency fence to attune into the types of energies that I'm willing to work with as I deliver the messages. And so it's important to use your voice to really stand in your sovereignty and be very clear about the energies that you are willing to work with. And then this other part just keeps wanting to come in, talking about music is like water, and talking about how the universe, to understand the nature of reality, think in terms of frequency and vibration. Putting those two together, music, water, because I love that, quantum theory tells us the entire universe at the quantum level is one unified field. It's all one unified field. And so mystics of the ages have described it as like this vast ocean where, people, planets, galaxies rise up like waves, but they always return back to the ocean. It's all this one vast thing. So when you're channeling, you're literally opening up a stream. You're opening up like a river. And it's not just like a beam of light coming into your head. It's opening up into your entire energy field. And that's why you might have noticed you can, be having a discussion about a very specific subject with somebody over here, and then you go to the grocery store and two people in line you're not even talking to suddenly start talking about that very same specific thing. It's because they're in proximity of your energy field. All of a sudden they have access to this river of information, this stream of consciousness that you've opened up. And it's not just physically local, like you'll hear a song on the radio or something will come on. It's like we really have an opportunity to reimagine ourselves, to reconceptualize ourselves, and to witness all that truly is right in front of us. And to witness our own powers of manifestation, and just fuck with it, play with it, fuck around and find out. And again, then tune into the resonance, really tune into your heart. That seems to feel like that's where the sweet spot is tuning into the resonance and finding what resonates with you, what aligns with your own vibrational frequency, and allowing others to have their own resonance and to discover their own truth, because we don't know all there is to know. We don't have all the information. And so it reminds me of that parable of three blind men, each touching a different part of the elephant and describing it in a different way as a different animal. And each of them are correct in how they perceive it, but they don't have the whole picture. So sometimes two very seemingly different truths can both be true because you don't have the complete information. So allow others their sovereign truth. Allow others, we don't need to dominate each other, and we definitely don't fucking need to be dominated. Just don't be an asshole, or try not to be. And if you do, look inside and find out why. Love yourself enough to, do better. And of course, I'm Saturn's bitch, so I'm always like, do better. And Saturn is the crone, by the way. She is grandmother. All right, that's all I have. It's time for me to go home now. But thank you for tuning in to my live stream. Thank you, Chris Reck, for suggesting that I do this. I finally got the courage at the end of the day. And hopefully I'll be doing this more. Once again, I'm looking at different things. One of the store managers had suggested that I do like a poll or something to see when people would most likely be wanting to tune into a live stream. And so I'm going to look into that, and I might be, I think I'll probably download this, and so I'm live on TikTok, so if you're watching this on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, I'm probably gonna fuck around with, sorry, I keep getting these messages, I'm probably gonna fuck around with the different platforms and just see, you know, who shows up and where the best response is. But if they do end up getting rid of TikTok, then you can find me on the other places, Fairlight Mariah D. Taurus, or what is it called? Airy Fairy Tarot. Ha ha ha. I ate part of a gummy and I'm all stupid. Whatever. I'm happy. So, and then also we have our show, Tune Your String. We've not really been active lately because my daughter's been visiting from Ohio, and we just have our own things going on, but we're going to get back to it next week. I don't know that we'll go live or anything, but maybe we can go live. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Blah, 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 blah. Love and peace to all y'all, and thank you for watching. How do I turn this off now?